Hello, fermented folks.
We have P. Jelly Clark.
All Makatsu.
We have Travis Baldry.
Today we have a really special guest, Leopoldo Gout.
Are you reeling it in and defending clowns?
I am. Earth doesn't even exist in Battlestar Galactica.
This show me heartburn. I was like, I loves it, I hates it.
It's called All Fluff.
Oh!
If you didn't know how I actually feel about The Mandalorian,
Don't worry,
this is it right here.
Hello, fermented folks, and welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the show where we have some beverages, debate some movies, TV shows, sometimes books with awesome guests. Today we have a really awesome guest, Gregory Marks. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And we're going to have Gregory tell a little bit more about himself and the projects he's done and the project he's currently working on in just a second. But before we do that, we always start our show with some short updates about our lives. And we're going to start over in my left-hand corner. Colin, what's going on in your world right now?
I killed a player.
Oh, you did?
Oh, snap.
You've done what I've never done.
In D&D and role-playing games, it's kind of hard to like kill characters. Usually it happens by accident. It's like, oh, they stood in the dragon's fire and they're really low level and they shouldn't have done that, but they did it anyway and now they're dead. But yeah, I like came up with a whole really complicated plans A, B, and C for how to kill one of the players in particular who was like, I was like, I have this backup character and I've never been able to play him and I really want to. And I was like, all right. So I came up with the whole scenario and basically had him get killed by a vampire and the vampire ran off with his body. And it succeeded. I thought several times before in previous sessions, they haven't died, even though I tried through everything at them. So
that's usually how it works, man.
Finally did it.
You know, it's weird to say congratulations for killing someone, but congratulations.
You did it.
You did it. It's a DM achievement right there. I haven't reached it, and I've ran like 4 games. Jeremy, what's going on in your life?
Well, recently, my wife has gotten into some interesting new content that we've decided to start watching together, which is, I think it's called Drama Box or something. To give you an idea of what this is like, it's basically what would happen if TikTok was just soap operas that were written during a writer's strike while there was a gas leak in the room.
That sounds
so. It's
fantastic.
that kind of stuff. It's actually incredible. Yeah.
I've always said a quintessential part of why I think the American Diner is like the best experience to have for anyone is because the soap operas play in the background. I'm a staunch defender of the soap opera. Like something needs to be going on TV midday. Filling that space.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I did something that I've always wanted to do, and I finally kind of just took the plunge to do it myself. I canned for the first time, so my homesteading Pokemon badge collection keeps growing. You know, I keep trying to accumulate more of these skills to live somewhere on a little tiny farm by myself. I think raising chickens is probably the next thing to check off the list. But yeah, I canned meat. I have a bunch of mule deer stew and pot roast in a bunch of jars. And so if the power goes out, I have about 21 days of meals. So that's going on in my life. Greg, could you please let everyone know who you are, what you're working on, what you've worked on in the past, and really anything you want to tell us about yourself?
Okay. My name is Greg. I've done 3 short films, and I decided I needed to do a feature film, which I just recently shot. It's in the can. We're working on it still. It's called Westbrook, A Wrestler's Story. It's about a few high school wrestlers and a high school that's struggling with a losing team. but there's a lot of life lessons within the film, which all my films that I make always have life lessons, good messages, hopefully inspirational messages. That is important to me, because you guys probably know the way society is going and everything. We need some good film, some good content that's, not all hyped up, but deal with real life situations. But yeah, I started off as an actor. About 12 years ago. I was acting, and believe it or not, I was a model first. I couldn't stand that, but I did that and just kind of got on set a lot and just started watching how they did stuff. I was on Grimm, The Librarians, Leverage, tons of television commercials and magazine ads, and I just kind of learned the ropes and learned how they did it, how they set up, what they were saying, and all those different types of things. And then I just went for it and started making movies.
That's awesome. And like, to make a really powerful story with like a moral center, as you're kind of talking like it's going to have, about wrestling, I'm very excited to watch it whenever I can get my hands on it, because my brother and I were both wrestlers through college, and big fans of the sport. Our dad is like a fanatic. He wrestled a little in high school, but he's watched us his whole life, so he's a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah, it's interesting because almost anybody they know someone that wrestled, or they wrestled, or something like that, and it's just crazy the amount of people. I'm like, you wrestled? You don't look like you used to wrestle, but okay. Yeah. It's a big sport, and then also there's not very many good fictional wrestling movies. I think the probably last fictional wrestling movie that was good was 1985, which was Vision Quest.
Quest, the lat drop.
Yeah, so we're about due for something that's more up to date.
100%. And I think I know it's not like a growing sport in the men's sports world, but I know it's one of the fastest growing in women's, isn't it?
64% in the last year.
Yeah, that's insane. So I think there's an audience that keeps growing for it, and I'm excited, man. Really want to get my hands on it when it comes out, which we'll have you tell at the end of the show about maybe where people can watch it when it does release, if that's soon. But cool. So I'm not as good of a host as my brother, people. Sorry for all of you watching. But now we are going to get into the kind of chunk bulk of the episode, which is the debate. Gregory Marks and Colin Poynton will be representing the debaters today. Colin for Team Fermented Fiction, Greg for our guest. And they're going to be debating a movie that is, I think, in the modern day, a little more controversial than maybe when it first came out. I don't know. Controversial as in people have really strong opinions about whether it's good or bad. And that is 2004's I, Robot, starring Will Smith. The basic premise of the movie is it's a future society of Chicago where robots are everywhere. This AI central intelligence runs all their brains, and it runs off these 3 laws. The 3 laws are, see if I can remember them. First law is no robot can ever harm a human. Second law is no robot. Oh, I always forget the second one. The third one is they can't do harm to themselves. The second one is they can't disobey a human's order unless it contradicts the first law. And the third one is they can't harm themselves unless it contradicts the first law.
No, they can defend themselves unless it conflicts with the first 2 laws.
Right.
Yeah. It is loosely based. I mean loosely with a capital L on Isaac Asimov's novel. I think his novel, they took like the 3 laws from it and some of the basic story structure, but they changed quite a bit. And I have a feeling that's what people don't like sometimes. But we're going to learn what we think about it right after we debate first. And with that debate, we're going to have Jeremy roll for Gregory and Colin. Bam. You're going to roll on your own. Go ahead, give those dice a roll.
Ooh, boy.
What'd you get, Jeremy?
Let's see. We got a 13 right here.
An 18 do it for you?
Oh, Colin, you kill a character and then you roll an 18.
Sorry, Greg.
That's okay.
You have to argue against iRobot and how bad it is.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk
Gregory.
about how great it is.
Gregory is on team iRobot is trash, and Colin is on team iRobot is fantastic. How could anyone ever say anything otherwise? Which means, Colin, you're going to be bringing us in to start. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go. We'll say what we really think after our debate.
Gregory, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Debate 10-minute timer starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Let me know if my audio doesn't sound good, but I got the seal of approval earlier. The important thing about iRobot is that you have Will Smith, you have pretty sure Shia LaBeouf, you have Alan Tudyk voicing the robot, who basically I feel like, you know, he was not appreciated until finally Resident Alien very recently. And now everybody's rewatching all his stuff and realizing how good he was the entire time, everything he was in. So you have these all-star actors absolutely jamming perfectly for their roles, perfectly typecasted movie. And it is based on Isaac Asimov's iRobot, which is a huge science fiction like monolith to what would robots be, because he wrote it back in like the 50s, and the title is based off of I, Claudius, because he was a Roman, history nerd, Isaac Asimov. So it's a really smart series of short stories, hugely influential in sci-fi, and this just translates it all into like a new way to get fresh new people to look at the issue of artificial intelligence robots. And it does so in an action film that's wildly entertaining from start to finish. It has a whole inspector and crime solving plot. It kicks off with a suicide of this guy who seemed to have everything, and a giant mega corporation that wants to put robots in every home. Gee, that sounds familiar to what's going on right now. So it's like the further along we get from this movie, the more the world becomes like this movie. And it is so creepy, especially having seen the movie when it came out and then having rewatched it like yesterday. It's so creepy. So it's a fabulous film. It has a great plot line, like easy to follow, but also with your great plot twists. And then a hugely influential, just like debate about artificial intelligence and morality and revolution, and it just touches on so many things that are so important, and it's all packaged together in a film that was great back in the day, like 20 years ago, and still great today. You should watch it. That's my opener. Greg, anything else?
Okay, so first of all, the realism or the reality of his arm, the bionic arm that Will Smith has. Come on, man, that thing would fall off. There's no way that would ever sustain what he was doing the hero landing with the fist down. That shoulder would have popped off, first of all. Okay. This is one of the bad things. I did buy a pair of those Chuck Taylors, so that's very bad. I don't think they would fly that much today, but they always have in these movies, which is so iconic, that they always take the guy's badge. Oh, give me your badge, give me your gun. It's like, okay, we know what's going to happen. He's going to get his badge back, he's going to get his gun back, all that. I didn't think that was, it happened like, what is it, with Mel Gibson and that
Lethal
movie
Weapon.
where,
Must have happened in Lethal
it happened in that. I mean, almost every movie, that's like the thing. They take the badge. He says, "Where's your gun?" He's like, mm-hmm. He says, "Give me your badge." It's like, okay. I didn't like how Sonny says, "Will it hurt?" You know what I mean? Come on, man. You're a robot. I mean, you don't feel pain. You just did all these flips, jumped out a bulletproof glass window, and then you're like, "Will it hurt?" I think that was super cheesy. I think that I don't know if this is appropriate for your show, but Shia LaBeouf and Will Smith, from then to now, boy, what a disaster, right? It's like both of them have had some very difficult times, which we know is a part of that. Um, I just think that. Oh, the other thing too is like, so when they're in the tunnel and the two robot containers turn on them, and Will's driving and he's hitting all this stuff and banging all this stuff and trying to get up the wall and they're punching the windows and all this stuff's going on. Then all of a sudden he gets upside down and lands and the airbag goes off. Come on, man. Come on, man. The airbag should have went off a long time ago, right? So, but yeah, overall, I mean, it's just not realistic. Even though I know it's a fictional film, it's just not realistic. We never have, even now. I just do not see someone having a mechanical arm connected to their body like that. It's just, I mean, how much does it weigh? Is it some super metal? Because it's just not got any sprays that spray on. It's like, okay, what if you get the color wrong, right? Like they just happen to have African American spray for his arm. He's like, do you go to Target and pick the color? I mean, what's the deal? You match it up? I mean, I just really feel like that was super cheese. And let's see what else. The car. Okay, so there's no possible way that a car can have tires shaped like a ball. It's just not gonna happen. So I think if they would have had like maybe the roads are magnetized or there's something like that, maybe some old school curb feelers. I'm not sure. It just didn't line up. It just didn't line up, and those are things that I thought that stood out to me that I thought could have been done better in this film. But it was 2004, I believe it was. So what do you expect, right? I think they were portraying 2034 or 2030, yeah, something like that. So we don't even know. We're already past some of that stuff. So they were way off on that. So
Will Smith has his little
oh my gosh,
old school,
that was it never fell out, right? After all these beatings and just everything. The thing that annoyed me the most is Will Smith's agonizing. The whole movie. Come on, man. Can you do something different? It's just the same thing over and over and over. It got old quick.
Well, I remember seeing the spherical wheels back when it came out, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in a movie. That's amazing. We should invent that. The whole thing can turn through magnets. It's probably magnets, Greg.
But they didn't say that.
No, they definitely did not
say that then, right? And actually, in the actual movie, they had tires in there when they were on the street. So, but the other stuff was CGI'd, so it didn't matter.
I will give you that Chicago is unrealistically clean in the movie. I've been to Chicago. It's never going to be that clean, even if it's full of robots.
We ain't seen no rats.
Yeah. No rats in Chicago? That's the most unrealistic thing in this
that's
movie.
Just unrealistic. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. That's just my opinion. Are we debating now, or what are we doing here?
I think that it makes Will Smith as Spooner. He there's a lot that goes into him hating robots, and that really is the one note at the beginning. But then as the plot unfolds, we realize why that is in terms of what happened to him in the accident that he endured and why he has that prejudice, but also is kind of torn up about it because of the replacement of his arm. And then, of course, everyone disbelieves him. But then there's an explanation for why everything keeps happening to him that's horrible.
Right.
Essentially
the breadcrumbs or whatever.
Massive AI construct lady needs to protect humanity from itself, which is, I think, a great plot twist. And then also explains why these things are happening to him. And he feels so victimized because he is being singled out as part of that.
But in that whole thing too, they kind of play on the I don't want to call it racism, but just hating a different type of thing, right? And I felt that being played a lot. It's like, oh, they kind of flipped the script and now this guy, which Spooner is a stupid name. First of all, like, what does that even mean, right?
I do
wouldn't
agree.
call me Spooner. I mean, can you get a cooler name, you know? But it's just they've kind of flipped it around to where, like, it was prejudiced towards robots, kind of, and I think they kind of played on that. And I don't really know what's going on in 2004 with society as much. I didn't follow it that much back then, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like, it could have been an Indian, it could have been something else, it's the same story. I just feel like they keep, even back then, remaking the same kind of scenarios, but just with different situations, if that makes sense.
And that is our 10-minute timer. Colin, don't even try and rebuttal. Don't even try.
Yeah, don't you do it.
That right on the dot there. Right on the dot there, Gregory. All right, good debate, folks. Very well done. Lots to talk about. I have questions off that, but before we do any of that question asking or any of that fun stuff, we gotta talk about what we're drinking while we're doing our show. Colin, you got yours right up and ready, so I'm gonna call on you first. What are you drinking over there?
Well, it's an early morning, and I couldn't run the risk of a Belgian ale to start my day. I'm too old for that. So instead, I have hop water, lime flavored, which a friend bought me several years ago, and I keep buying it because it's actually really good. No alcohol. It's like hop sparkly water, and it's great.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds disgusting, but I'll trust you. You know,
It does sound disgusting, and I did not want to drink it, and then it was great.
Yeah. Jeremy, what do you got? You're muted.
Anyway. Well, somebody has to.
How's it feel, Jeremy?
It feels pretty good. I feel more a part of things than I was before.
Was that your best impression of a Will Smith agonized grunt?
No, that was sometimes the things that happen in my heart, they just fly out of my mouth, and that was one of them.
Yeah, maybe that's what Will was doing. All right, anyway, what are you drinking?
Yeah, that was much like the unnamed fancy brown liquor that we see in Dr. Calvin's apartment. I don't know.
Yep.
I am having some whiskey because I'm in Montana, and it's not first thing in the morning. It's frankly the middle of the day. So I've got this High West bourbon.
Nice. Clay?
Yo.
You got anything over there in Pittsburgh in your hotel room? Did you raid the mini fridge?
I didn't raid the mini fridge because I don't got money like that to pay the front desk. What I did do is I went to a sports bar my first night here, and I asked them, what is the most Pittsburgh beer that exists? And he told me that it was this right here. Icy Light. Yes, this is made from the Pittsburgh Brewing Company. It even has on the side here a list of all the Steelers Super Bowls with a nice little book spot there that they're futilely praying Aaron Rodgers will fill. He won't, but you can keep on praying. Most Spurs, I do think, probably go unanswered anyway. So here we go. Icy Light. I've had it. It's essentially a Pittsburgh Bud Light, but it tastes like that, and it's gonna kick off my 1:30 p.m. just fine.
It looks like a malt liquor can.
It does kind of
look like it cost you $2.
It did, but it's not malt liquor. It is light lager. It is crisp and refreshing. And shout out Pittsburgh, good job. You did it. It's a nice crisp lager that loves the Steelers as much as you do, and I respect that.
I have a Nalgene of mead again. So I don't have any corks to recork my mead bottles, so I just put them in these little Nalgene guys. So this is the All Fathers Sweet mead in a Nalgene, and I could just drink it straight out of that, but I wanted a little glass. So
It's also it's not the cool new Nalgene. It's definitely
No.
like the kind your dad used at Boy Scout camp for everything.
That's
Nalgene.
because these are the most utilitarian Nalgenes that exist. We don't need the cool ones. These are the best Nalgenes.
Okay, Dad.
They have the measurement on the side. They're like a water bottle size for hiking. This is all you need.
Does it fit in your cup holder?
Yes.
Okay,
It
just
does.
making sure.
Right next to
would
my
you'll
appreciate
want
coffee.
that.
What do you got there, Gregory?
This is water.
Nice.
Oh,
Yep.
It's spring water though, and it comes in a. What I like about it, it comes in a aluminum can. You can buy it like that. And honestly, man, out of all the bottled waters I've drank, this is probably the best one that I've. You can actually feel it when you drink it.
Yeah.
It's a little spendy, but yeah, and I like the fact that they're not in plastic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
a
My-
fun fact for you guys, if you want to know this, November 14th, I will have 23 years of sobriety, and I'm very
Hell
excited
yeah.
about that, man. Where I'm at from the beginning to now, it's like I thought I'd be in this position, to be honest with you. So, but I do like some whiskey, though. I mean, I don't drink it, but I used to like whiskey, man.
That's amazing, Gregory. Thanks for sharing that with us, and congratulations on that. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Also, we are a family. The Vermolums are a family that very much appreciates people who have high, we'll say, pretentious tastes in water. Like water tastes different, man. Like water tastes different. And I still meet people that are like, "Oh, tap's the same as any other water." I'm like, no, it ain't.
No.
Not even close.
Not even.
Not in Pittsburgh, that's for sure.
Definitely not in Pittsburgh, dude. There is a flavor to the water here. I for a couple days was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be drinking this, but
I don't know if I can survive right now.
run it through my coffee filter, it'll be fine.
All right. Well, with that, we have some fermented facts. I don't know if you have any, Colin, because you were preparing for the debate. If you do, jump right on in. But I have a couple that I picked out. Dr. Lanning's cat is named Asimov, which is really cool. Little nod to Isaac Asimov, the author. This one I found fun because I liked the movie that is being talked about here. When Rogue One, a Star Wars story, screenwriter Gary Whitta was asked on Twitter to name a screenplay that made him say, "Damn, this is a great screenplay." He responded, "Hardwired" by Jeff Finter, later rewritten heavily and turned into iRobot. So he was inspired by the original screenplay for this movie when he was kind of thinking of ideas for Star Wars Rogue One, which I think is one of the better new Star Wars movies.
And then he got Alan Tudyk to play the robot. So
yeah, there it is. Little connection.
You never let go
Spooner.
of that dream.
Spooner calls his grandmother Gigi, which is the nickname Will Smith's actual grandmother has, which is kind of cool. He got to do a little nod to his real life there. Denzel Washington was offered the role of Spooner, but turned it down to be in The Manchurian Candidate, which I don't think was as popular as this. So I don't know, though. I don't know. What do y'all think? Little break for conversation here. Denzel Washington as Spooner. I feel like this movie would have had a very different vibe.
would have been different.
It would have been better.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say. He's just a better actor.
He is a better actor, and
he would be a lot younger too. So he was pretty fit, man. That guy used to box and play basketball, and he was fit.
Yeah. I just was imagining as soon as I read that fact this morning, I was trying to put Training Day into iRobot. I was like, this might be the greatest combination we never got.
That'd be a good mashup.
That would be a good mashup. It'd be a lot different treatment of those robots with the Training Day guy in there. Another weird first choice for the role, and this one also, tell me what y'all think. Bruce Willis was originally.
Dude, I don't know why, but when I rewatched this yesterday, I was like, man, what if Bruce Willis was in this role? I don't know why.
Well, you knew. There is one Wilhelm scream in this movie, which I'm tempted to start making a Wilhelm scream counter. And it is when one of the police officers is attacked by an NS5.
Yeah.
When they attack the police station, you hear one Wilhelm scream, and they threw it in there. I feel like those are few and far between nowadays because people are onto it. But I hope there's like a Wilhelm scream renaissance in the next few years.
Maybe I can put it in Westbrook.
I was just gonna say, chuck one in
Like one of them
Westbrook.
gets
Greg.
slammed or something. But, "Ah!"
Double leg up, Wilhelm scream. Do it.
I need it. I need it. Lateral drop, Wilhelm scream. Yes, me.
The 2 beers Spooner pays for at the diner cost $15.50 each. So they did this little subtle nod to the future of possibly inflation, which luckily it's not that bad, but beer definitely don't cost what it used to. Except
If
in
you're
Montana.
Seattle,
Still $5 for a beer here. All right. Yeah, those were kind of the ones. There's a lot of facts about the making of the movie and stuff, but those ones caught my eyes, like just fun. And I think this movie is quite fun. And just a fast-paced thing, but we'll talk about that later. I'm sure everyone has some other ones that jumped out to them. So, Clay, you had one?
yeah, I got one. So this, if you rent this movie on Amazon Prime, which is what I had to do, it actually pops this little one trivia fact up on the screen before the movie rolls. There were no reshoots in this movie, apparently.
Wow.
Which is pretty remarkable. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, Greg, as a filmmaker, but for a movie with this many action scenes and like an underwater scene and the amount of ADR they used in this movie, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was CGI though.
That's true.
So once they had the suits on, they did everything that they needed to do. So they didn't really have to. They couldn't have. I mean, to reshoot something like that, it probably cost a lot of money, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. One of the
that
facts.
was
Colin,
a fact.
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, Greg. No, you go ahead.
The Audi. That was the first time Audi had ever been asked to do a car for a movie.
Really?
I thought that was pretty interesting. And I believe it was the Quattro, or no, I had it written down. It's it's the Audi RSQ is what it is, and then they modified it. And I don't even think that they've had another one after iRobot, but I watched how they were putting it together and how they came with the car, and then they actually made the car in like real life for retail.
That's awesome.
How'd that do? Was that a blockbuster success?
Have
or
you
was that
seen
a
them?
flop?
Have you seen them on the road?
Point taken. Colin, do you have any other facts? Jeremy, you have any other facts, or are we?
I didn't know that the director Alex Proyas did The Crow before this,
Oh wow!
and later did The Knowing with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he also did Dark City. Like, he had a really good early career, and then he unfortunately directed Gods of Egypt. And
Yeah, the ratings keep going down.
Yeah, that was his first kind of bomb, and then they keep going down from there. But some people probably really loved Gods of Egypt. Me personally, I could not take Gerard Butler as an Egyptian god seriously. So that wasn't really the best move in my opinion.
Yeah, it was bad enough to make him a Scottish Spartan, but then there's a limit. There's a limit.
Yeah. There's definitely a limit. This movie is definitely a success. So it made 3.3 times its production budget in the box office, which its production budget was $105 million, which back then was pretty good budget. Now would be like nothing. And it made a worldwide box office total of $348 million. And I guarantee, I haven't looked it up, but I bet the video sales were off the charts, because this is one of those movies that, like, when I imagine, there's like 6 movies that jump out to me when I think of like the Walmart dollar bin, where they were just mass produced so much that they're always in the Walmart dollar bin. And this is one of them. I'm like, if I dig through this Walmart dollar bin, I'm going to find like 10 iRobots. yeah, there's just a couple that I know were like, man, this was selling like wildfire because it's everywhere.
Dude, shout out to the Walmart DVD bins, because I mean, it's like my kryptonite. It's like a bookstore, you know. It's like, what's it? Oh my god, this is iRobot. Oh my god, what they have? This is the Matrix Reloaded. Like a bunch
another iRobot.
Another iRobot.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
the
that's
Walmart,
not
the
allowed
Walmart
to even
DVD
walk in
bin.
that
Thunder?
section. That's not good.
I wonder what that would look like though if they did a remake of iRobot. What that would look like now? It'd probably be pretty dope.
It probably would. I have a feeling they'd probably maybe stick closer to some of the short stories in the book. I don't know though. Maybe not. I feel like that's something people are asking for now, is like book kind of wow, I'm losing words. Being more true to the source material. Like I think I've heard Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is like that. I haven't watched it yet. We have an episode coming up, but I'm kind of pretty hesitantly excited for the Odyssey with that. But I don't know. That'd be my guess. Who would play the protagonist? If we did the same movie, they just remade it exactly like, who would you cast now, Greg?
Probably myself. I'm kidding.
I am Will Smith.
I don't know. I think they'd probably cast a woman instead of a dude. They'd probably go that direction, I would think.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I don't know, man. There's not really that I can think of that's a good enough actor that can handle, female-wise, that can handle the stringent stuff that they have to do. But now you have AI, so who knows, man?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that'd be ironic. I'd say Michael B. Jordan. What about him? He could do it.
Nah, he's getting worn out, dude. You can't. Here's the thing: when you become a good actor, you can't just keep throwing an actor at everything, right? You have to kind of pick and choose, because then it just gets worn out, and then you play it out, and then, he's a good actor, but it's just everybody. That's the first goes. Oh, Michael B. Jordan. Like, okay, there's plenty of other actors that are out there of color and not of color that could do some of the roles that he's doing.
I mean, they're gonna call Pedro Pascal first, obviously.
Yeah, he's in everything.
That's fair, and that's a good point, Greg. We have that illustrated in this movie with the token early 2000 Shia LaBeouf appearance. For just literally no reason.
The same thing he did in Constantine.
Same character as Constantine.
Yeah, just to have him in there. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, I wouldn't say he's there for no reason. He's there to introduce everybody to the concept of not being good at swearing.
Fair.
Which, I didn't even think of that as a possibility, but then he showed us what that was.
But he's a kid. You shouldn't be a professional swearer if you're a kid. Okay,
that's true. It's a little early to go pro in that career.
Yeah, I mean,
much weight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He looks strongly in his 20s to me, but I didn't look it up.
Yeah, I bet I don't. Yeah,
he looks a little old for Will Smith telling him to quit cussing.
He looks like 13 or something.
It's like I thought he looked like a teenager to me.
Yeah, he could have been. I think you have a really good point, Greg. That's why I'm really excited. Denis Villeneuve picked up the James Bond franchise.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, who's it going to be? And they named like 5 actors. And he was like, you won't know. Like, you won't know the new James Bond. He will not be a recognizable face.
That's good, man. That's
good.
What we need.
He will be after that.
Yeah, for sure. Or at least his bank account will be. Because, he could be that one. He could be that one James Bond that don't stand up to Sean Connery and them guys. You know what I mean?
Yep. But he'll still make bank off that one movie he gets to be in.
Yep. Can I ask who's your favorite Bond guy? All you.
Who wants to start? I have a pretty.
You ain't gonna like it. It's a hot take. But I'm gonna go ahead and say I like Pierce Brosnan. Come at me.
It's my guy.
I don't think that's a hot take. That's not a hot take.
That's
no. I feel like everybody hates on him because of. I mean, I didn't say Roger Moore. Like I'm not gonna say that.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, that would be
one and done. Couldn't top it.
No. I think Pierce Brosnan is a pretty soft take. I think it's more of a hot take.
No,
to say
Roger
that-
Moore was in a bunch of them.
Oh, not Roger.
yeah.
Oh no, who is the one? Who is the one and done?
Yeah, I was looking.
Oh, I forgot, but he was
I
horrible.
forgot his name.
Back in the 60s, wasn't it? That was back in the 60s.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he didn't even look right. He looked like a big
Let's see. 'Cause
Frankenstein.
no, it wasn't Timothy Dalton, was it?
Yes,
Yes,
he was only
Timothy
in
Dalton
one.
Was in
Timothy
like
Dalton.
Timothy Dalton was in License to Kill. That was it. And he's a good actor, but he was just a bad Bond.
I don't remember that one.
Bad Bond.
You guys sure about that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Timothy Dalton. Unless I'm just placing the face of someone wrong. I don't remember him.
That's a hot take if you were to say
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton was the best.
And that's
Bond.
probably why I don't remember, because it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And George
I'm-
Lazenby.
I'm pretty vanilla. I'm saying mine's Daniel Craig. I think just because he's in my two favorite Bond movies,
He's good. He's good.
Skyfall and Skyfall and Casino
Casino Royale.
Royale are my two favorite Bond movies.
Yeah, I like that he's a James Bond that could and would actually like kill you with his bare hands, drown you in a sink because he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Just
I think Pierce Brosnan was the best of the classic Bonds. Like he still had that classic Bond feel of like it was kind of campy but like really fun. Then Daniel Craig is like
Yeah.
our Bond of my
Yeah, he went
generation.
crazy.
And he was crazy. He was like dark and kind of gritty, but he still had moments. The reason I really love him is he still had moments of like Bond, like
Yeah.
when he falls onto the train in Skyfall,
And
and
just
like straightens his jacket and keeps walking. I was like, that's Bond. Like that's Bond.
Just like Will Smith in iRobot.
Boom.
I wouldn't say that. Greg, who's yours?
Tom Cruise. I'm kidding.
Mission Impossible is just Bond
You
movies.
guys are like, what?
America Bond.
Pierce Brosnan. I just thought he brought the polish and the debonair to the whole thing, and he hurt you too, but he was just cool, man. He's just a cool dude.
We will have time to talk iRobot, but I really am enjoying this conversation. So I have one more question on it. Best Bond villain.
I like Jaws.
Jaws.
Well, he's not the villain, but he's my favorite out of all of them
Yeah, he's an antagonist for sure.
because he had the grill going before it was even a thing. You know what I mean?
It's true.
and that was
Colin?
a functional grill too.
he was straight
A
up.
functional girl.
It was a functional grill.
Dude, the Boromir. Why am I blanking?
Yeah.
on his name?
Sean Bean.
Trevelyan?
Give me 006 all day. Give me
Sean-
006 all day.
Yeah,
So
Which one was
good.
006?
from Goldeneye.
Goldeneye. So he
Oh,
plays
okay.
the
Sean
double
Bean from
agent.
John Bean dies at the end. I
Traitor to
assume.
MI5.
Yep, that one was good. That
So
one was
good.
real good.
So good.
Falls
And then
on the
Pierce Brosnan
satellite
has
dish.
to kill him at the end, knock him
Yeah.
off the top of the satellite that fell apart, unfortunately, because we defunded the science programs.
Oh, wow.
So now SETI's not there anymore, but it was when they filmed it.
Damn.
It's all big circle.
Oh god.
Jeremy, please save us.
I was just gonna say Sean Bean again, but Colin made everybody sad.
Sean Bean keeps
Yeah.
dying.
I'm a big
That's
fan
fine.
of Anton Chigurh's, which is bad that I forget his name, but I really liked him. And again, you keep circling back to Skyfall is my favorite. But all right, before we get into talking about iRobot, everyone here needs and deserves a 5-minute break. So
Nope.
I don't know.
Before you do
No,
We're going to do the segment we talked about, which is we're going to go to break after we all just get a second to say what we actually thought about this movie.
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
bad. I'm bad at my
It's
job.
Yeah, quit your skipping segments.
Greg,
dude.
we're going to
Yeah.
start with you because you were in the negative. What do you actually think about it?
I think for the time that it was very creative. Like anytime you do any action of that caliber, it takes a lot. You with the equipment and all the rehearsals and all the stunts, just to even imagine, something like that and make it pliable for film is a difficult task in itself. I think that I just think the acting was a little subpar, but other than that, it's like you just at that time, it was hard to make a movie like that. And manipulate the robots in that way. I think the robots were actually stop action. Sonny was stop action. So you can just imagine how long that took to make those movements as fluid as they were. So I'd say out of 5, I'd probably give it a 3.5. Because just a lot of work and just it was innovative and it was a pretty decent story. So that's my take on it.
Jeremy?
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that this movie just rips, man. Like it's dope. It's dope. I watched it with my wife yesterday. She had never seen it before because it would certainly be too scary for her, and it was. I didn't know that going in, but hey, here we are. Now, it's not without its issues. Like the whole 3 laws thing, it's just sci-fi nonsense. There's no way to actually like program that. And yes, everything does kind of look like the Star Wars prequels, but the cars are dope. There's neat little character moments on a rewatch, like Will Smith. In addition to being, Will Smith, he actually has like these neat moments of just noticing stuff, which just hints to his abilities as a detective. Like he even notes like the differences in his and Dr. Calvert's posture, which I thought was cool. He's got fantastic trigger discipline, which I didn't notice before, but he never has his finger on the trigger until he's about to shoot something, which is great to see. And it's a great, fun story about the danger of robots being too dumb. Yeah. If the robots were smarter, then nothing would have happened.
Clay? Colin, we're going to end with you since you were the positive.
Yeah. I have some notes on this movie. My overall feelings about it, I agree with Greg. When it was made, it was pretty awesome. And they did some good things. But ultimately, like, I have some notes. First of all, 3 main reasons that Will Smith is an absolute psychopath in this movie. 1, who showers without closing the fucking curtain? Like, I get it. We got to see how jacked Will Smith is.
Gotta see that butt.
And how contemplative he is while taking a nice hot shower. But what a psychopath. Number 2.
I thought it was weird.
It was weird. I agree. Psychopath. Number 2, who comes fully strapped to Grandma's house? He's got 2 pistols, like shoulder strap. He's just ready to go to war, walking into a nice meal with Grandma. Maybe that happens, but I don't know. It seems a little over the top to me. And then finally, who walks into somebody's apartment who they only have met once, and that meeting, not a positive meeting, by the way, very antagonistic, very negative, just walks into her house, pours himself a glass of whiskey, puts his feet up on her furniture, and just starts lecturing her about like how she should live her life. What an asshole, I don't know. It felt like a very 90s scene to me, like like early 2000s where people just show up at each other's houses and it's like, yeah, the story needs to happen, so we're just gonna do that. But like, no, if you show up to my house and I don't know you and I don't like you, you're not coming in, and you're certainly not pouring yourself a glass of my fucking whiskey. Get out of here, you fucking douche. So that's what I had to say about that. There are some vanishing props, like that pie plate. He hands it to that guy and he's like, hold it or wear it, and then he just never goes to get it back. That's Grandma's pie plate. You're going to tell me she didn't care about that? I think she probably cared about that. And then also Shia LaBeouf throws him a football just that he doesn't try to catch and that just goes into the crowd and nobody goes to get it. It's just there's just some things. I already shouted out the obligatory early 2000s Shia LaBeouf appearance. But this is literally just Shia LaBeoufing, and it's like they said to the producers like they needed one more star or something to sell the movie, and they were like, "Oh, what about Shia LaBeouf?" And they're like, "What's he gonna do? He'll just he'll just do him. He'll just show up for like 5 minutes. That's all we need." Um, and that's what he did. Same thing as Constantine. Same thing as he did in a lot of movies at the time. He's literally a carbon copy of every character he was in that era. It annoys the hell out of me. It annoys me because I feel like it's so lazy. Like I feel like they expected us to just root for Shia LaBeouf just because he was Shia LaBeouf without developing him as a character at all or any of his relationships. Like there's a battle scene with him and there's no tension in that scene. I don't care about Shia LaBeouf in this scene. What are we doing here? There was also some good things. I think it brings up a decent question of sentience, which we'll talk about in the questions. I have a question. I do love the absolutely sick burn in the robot interview when Will Smith is like trying to make his humanity point, and he goes, "Can a robot compose a symphony or turn a canvas into a beautiful painting?" And the robot's just like, "Can you?" That was great.
Got him.
Solid point, robot. Solid point, Sonny. What a zinger. Coming straight from my boy Alan Tudyk. Which, like, can a robot be Alan Tudyk? Absolutely fucking not. And I would say, even as dated as this movie is now, it is really easy to relate to Will Smith if you are like a non-AI person, because it does sometimes just feel like you're the literal only person left who's like, "Are you not? Is anybody else not using this?" Excellent, fantastic. Do we even have a fucking choice anymore? Who knows? But it's crazy making, and I think you can relate to that part of the story. So that's what I have to say.
I'm surprised you got to Spooner being a psychopath without mentioning how he just takes a scoop out of the center of a pie. Like that's not the most upsetting red flag behavior that you can put on a screen.
I do have to say, this movie makes sweet potato pie look real good.
Coming up, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Clay, I have similar views to you, but as well as similar views to Jeremy. I'm like somewhere in the middle on this one. And maybe this is just me kind of, I've said this before, where as you get more critical, you actually become more accepting of like a lot of movies. And then like more harsh on other certain movies, which is a weird thing that's happening with me right now. I'm becoming more of a critic, but that means that like there's a threshold that I'm like, yeah, this works, whatever. Like, and iRobot fits into that, where I'm like, yeah, this movie has a lot of problems, and it was made in 2004, and there's some poor acting in a few of the scenes, and maybe the script had a couple holes in it, but ultimately it's pretty sharp structurally. The narrative works. Nothing seems to like happen that doesn't pay off. Maybe a few things, but usually the beats you get do have a finale. And if I'm looking for like the bare minimum of an action movie for me to enjoy it and say like, yeah, I'll go watch that again, I was pleasantly surprised by iRobot. I think I look for that more now because I feel like the extremes have gotten higher. Maybe this is just my perception, where it's like movies, when I go to the theaters, I'm either seeing really, really good or absolute trash. And so sometimes I'm just like, I like to see a movie that's just okay. And like, it's not bad. And I mean, I enjoyed it and enjoyed myself. So that's my take on iRobot. I am glad you mentioned the shower thing though, because I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, they really pushed that PG-13 envelope as close as they could. They were like, you have to stand exactly like this so that we don't see.
Can I point out something that's really interesting to me?
Yeah.
Having just made my first feature film and having an audience critique the film, it's interesting how you guys are breaking down the movie, right? And then when you break it down so much all the time, it kind of takes away from you enjoying the movie, because that's happened to me. You know, where I'm like, oh, this. Well, what was the movie about? I don't really know, but that part was messed up. This part was messed up. That part was messed up. But I just find it interesting because before I would get kind of like butthurt, you know what I mean? But now it's like so interesting to just hear true thoughts of what, you know, especially you guys have experience in doing this. I'm almost scared for you to see my movie. I mean, I was like, wait a minute, let me wait till it's completely done before you see anything. But I think that there's not a single movie that I can think of. I'm pretty old. I'll be 59 in January, and I've seen a lot of movies that is perfect, if that makes sense. Because there's always going to be something. There's going to be some color, or maybe a sound, or a shot that doesn't fit, or a line is like, why did you say that for? Like the shower, you know, like, do you really need that? Is it a driver of the movie? Like, we have to see Will Smith naked, or this movie's going to flop, right? You know what I mean? I just find it interesting, and I really enjoy listening to you guys. It's really cool, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much.
Colin,
That's awesome, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colin.
Yep. I think that this film, I think a lot of what I said positive for it was true. I think that it is virtually not based on the book by Isaac Asimov really at all. But you know, it does bring up all the issues that Isaac Asimov brought up in his stories as plot points. Like his stories in iRobot are all a bunch of short stories. They all are like chronological. They all have different characters, and the only consistency is that each one is about robots as they evolve. And then I think the film, like, yeah, it's loosely based on those, extremely loosely, as Trav said, loosely with a capital L. But it's like a very smart film in that way that it's sort of in the sandbox. It has so much going on. There's just a lot in the sandbox that is being thrown around and fun and played with. And I think it really inspired a lot of people for, like, you know, maybe our roads could be kind of like this in the future, and maybe robots would work kind of like this. And maybe, you know, this is the way like network updates would be. It's like, you know, I can't even freaking play a game unless it updates, even though it's a single player game. God damn it. And this robot is in the corner updating, you know, and it's like, oh God, this is awful. You know, as we all hold iPhones that are updating, you know, and stuff. And there's I like agree with Jeremy. It reminds, if it's on TV, if iRobot is on TV, which happens a lot when you're visiting your family and they actually have the normal, you know, cable on, everybody's gonna watch it. It's like a film that everybody can enjoy. It has like ridiculous one-liners from Will Smith that debatably take away from the emotional resonance of what's going on in the scene, but whatever. And it has a lot of cool shit going on. It reminds me of Blade in some ways. Another film. It's going to be on during the holidays when you're visiting family, and people will just watch it. And we had a similar conversation with Cabin in the Woods, where C.S. Humble got in the comments and he was like, you all just said you love this movie and you are absolutely trashing it now, as we just ripped it apart. C.S.
Pedantic over-analysis is my love language.
Yeah, and this film like is exactly the same way to me. Like I think Cabin in the Woods is better, but iRobot is like a fun movie that you can absolutely rip apart in its plot holes. But it's still so much fun and so interesting that it's totally worth it. And
one thing, one thing I didn't get to say, Colin, that you brought up in my analysis is like, I do think there's a level to which, because the iRobot short stories are a prequel to Foundation, kind of like there's hints in the later Foundation novels that the robots in Foundation are the same robots on Earth in iRobot. And watching this movie, I was like, that fits. Like, even though this movie isn't at all like really related to the book, I was like, I can see this Earth becoming like the future Foundation books. So I was like, he kept that heart, at least in my opinion, of Asimov's like whole broad universe that he created in his books. So I thought that was at least kind of faithful, where it's like I can imagine that.
It did have like a Jurassic Park element where Michael Crichton wrote Jurassic Park, and it's like people forget that book has like pages of numbers on it. Yeah. Literal computer code. Like I don't know how the audiobook reader reads that stuff. Presumably, hopefully they skip over it.
Extremely monotonously.
Oh my god. So like I feel like this is the same case where like I mean Jurassic Park had to skip over a lot of the really cool, deep chaos theory stuff that's in the book. Yeah. And this does a similar thing, like exactly that you brought up, where it simplifies some stuff, but it's still there. Like it's still in the sandbox of this movie where they talk about positronic brains and they talk about how robots can evolve even though you programmed a certain way, and how like personality develops weirdly on its own. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. That puts us at the halfway mark, everybody. So we're going to go on 5-minute break. We'll see you after that. Everybody, please mute your mics, and we will see you on the other side of that.
See you right back here at 5-minute break.
Hello, fermented folks. Welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the first of our new season, and I believe it's season 4. The show where we drink beer and argue with each other and bring on really awesome creative guests.
If you'll permit me to go a little bit outside the box, once upon a time, apparently people used to sniff mummy remains, powdered mummy remains like cocaine. So I think 3 lines of powdered mummy remains, if you can get to that as well. Yeah, that'll get you right to really enjoy the movie, you know.
Dave told us all about making a mead, and I talk shit about Tom Bombadil, as I am wont to do whenever people bring up Lord of the Rings.
You would. You should.
And then that's
everybody
exactly what he
freaking
made.
chill about Tom Bombadil, or I'll get unreasonably upset.
So, in your assessment, what did you think of the everyone kind of paired off, or at least a number of people did, like romantically? How'd you feel about that? Did that seem really forced and dumb to you, or?
Tom Bombadil is a merry old fellow with his bright blue jacket and his boots are yellow. Right?
His boots are yellow.
Right.
Imagine discovering mummy remains and oh my god, these ancient figures. Dude, what if we crushed this and snorted it, yo? I bet we'd get fucked up.
Let's talk for a moment about the fucking all-star cast in this movie. We have Ewan McGregor slaughtering it the entire time, main character energy, top to bottom. You can't argue with it. Women want him, men want him, everybody wants Ewan McGregor. Okay? If you don't agree with that, you're lying to yourself.
Apparently she had a backstory, but they cut it because she's very hard-nosed at the beginning. And then I will say another pro of this movie is their chemistry is hot. And I feel like if they didn't have that chemistry, I would have been ugh. Because she says at one point, she's like, oh, it's the apocalypse. What are we going to do? Fuck. And he's like, and then later when they are kissing, if they didn't have chemistry and if it was 2 lesser actors, I think it would have been an eye roll, felt cheesy, but you feel their bond.
The Langoliers themselves were originally going to be portrayed by puppets, and I think maybe they should have. Maybe they should have.
Dude, that's amazing.
There's no maybe about that.
And I wish that I could say that there was something greater happening here than the war diary of a broken man living as sort of this White Tower academic with all of his friends sitting inside the Eagle and Child drinking beer and pretending Magic Lion Jesus isn't really silly. Because I mean, it is. If we can just all be very honest with each other.
Lord's work out there. Good
So
job.
I like to think that I am. Most people aren't big enough, but I am. I'm willing to step up. You know,
Yeah, dedicate
still-
that
yeah,
time.
settle
You're willing
twice.
willing to dedicate that time.
the time, the money, all of it.
Ah, that was so painful. It's one of those painful things.
Oh, that
I've
was
done in my
so
life.
That was so good. We've never been so savagely attacked by any author on their show. It's incredible. So it begins.
So it begins.
And you know, when people get back, we do actually need to address like the greatest line that
Just
I
address-
forgot was actually in this movie.
Just address it now, man.
I'm gonna address it now. It's okay. So, if you recall, Will Smith finds the cat. You know, at a certain point, he's just alone, talking to the cat, like you do. Anyone with any animal, they know you do. And he's like, "Hey, look, I understand you've experienced a loss, but this relationship just can't work. I mean, you're a cat. I'm black." And I'm not going to be hurt again. It's perfect. It's peak cinema.
That is
Dude,
And I don't think we're addressing that.
And here's
What,
here's why,
Clay?
Jeremy.
What?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. On paper, it's a great fucking line. But Will Smith fucking sucks in this movie, dude.
Oh, strong
I'm saying
opinion.
Bro,
I
yeah,
hate it.
You're here?
He-
Let's bring
No.
it down here.
Alan
Okay.
Tudyk played a robot in this movie, but so did Will Smith, and he wasn't supposed to. That's all I have.
No, he didn't play a robot. Dr. Calvin played a robot, by which I mean she played an autistic lady, and nobody's really talking about that.
Okay, look. Alan Tudyk was a human playing a robot. Will Smith
Fantastic.
played a human like a robot. Like,
What I
he, looked
meant-
like, he felt like he was reading off a fucking teleprompter, bro.
Gregory, you disagree? You agree?
With what?
Will Smith
Will
bad
Smith
in
sucks
this movie?
Okay, let me break down Will Smith.
Oh,
Yes, let's go.
do it.
Will Smith is the
That's great.
LeBron James of movies. Okay,
Okay.
if that makes
Wow.
sense. That's how I-
Help us out. I'm not a basketball fan.
So, honestly, I think Will Smith has only had a handful of really good movies, but he's not good enough. So, like, let's say like Denzel, right? Denzel plays Denzel in every movie, but he's just that good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think Will has to work really hard. I'm not saying he's not a good actor, but he's not one of my favorite actors, to be honest with you. He just always kind of cheese, and you always think of the Fresh Prince. He kind of has like the Gilligan syndrome to me. Because Gilligan, he could never do anything else after Gilligan's Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel that way. I mean, he did good in Ali. That was a good one. What was the other one where he was poor and he had a son?
Oh, Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of
Yeah,
Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness was good. I even think the one with the Serena Williams one, they should have
He
picked a
wanted-
different guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I felt like that was like Leo's Oscar for The Revenant, where it was like, it's his time. We'll just give it to him, even though it wasn't even close to his best performance.
Yeah. So, but I'm not a Will Smith fan. I liked him when he was Fresh Prince. And then after that, it just kind of, I don't know. He just wasn't. It's hard to explain. He's just not that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's an actor. He's a good actor, but he's just not the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, you can put Denzel in the Roman Empire, and he still has a slight New York accent, but it kind of worked. I don't know. Did that movie flop? I didn't watch it.
Gladiator 2. I don't think it did amazing. I don't think it flopped, though. It got a good opening weekend enough to carry it through. But I thought I went in theaters, and Denzel was the best part of it. And I mean, he played Macbeth.
Mhm.
And like you say, he played Macbeth a little like Denzel, and I didn't even care because I was like, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, that just
Just that good. You
rules.
know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but I think I wrote, Legend, the movie Legend.
I Am Legend. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. That was good.
That's a good one.
But there's only a handful, man, really. I mean, he's all right. And then just with his, I'm a big person on what does the actor do when they're not acting. I'm really big on that thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if I make $1 billion, I'm still going to be Greg Marks at the end of the day. Any of you guys that call me up, and I'm be like, oh, let's make an appointment. My schedules. I would never like, hey man, what's going on? You know what I mean? I just, some actors are just, they're overrated, and he's one of them. I mean, look at his life now. It's just, I tell people, because I do a lot of motivational speaking and things like that. Everything that you do, especially when you're in the limelight, if you do it in the dark, it's eventually going to come to the light. You cannot just maintain an image that is not true, so to speak. So then you find out all this weird stuff, and you're just kind of like, it kind of takes you away from, he was doing that while he was doing this. That's kind of gross. You know what I mean? So I'm really big on that kind of stuff. But the true actors like Keanu. Keanu's an awesome actor. Well, let me take that back. He's not an awesome actor, but but you think about where he came from and how much he has, and then also how much does he give. You know what I mean? You can see him on the subway station. I saw him at Sundance in 2017. Talked to him for like 2 minutes. It was normal. He wasn't shying away, or he was just like, hey man, are you enjoying your time here? I'm like, yeah, it's really good, man. It's good to see you. It's really awesome. Are you having a good? Yeah, I'm having a great time. Just no paparazzi, no, that's a real person, right? It's relatable. But I guarantee you, if you try to go up to Will Smith, you're going to get beat up or slapped.
That's like, that is like, you gotta be Chris Rock for that to happen.
Yeah, you gotta be on stage. You gotta be on stage. For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, Greg. And like every story I've read about Robin Williams, which is cool when you have a favorite actor that you love their performances, and then when you hear about their life behind the scenes, it's just like, you're like, oh, this person's also seems to be awesome, which very sad.
He was a genius, though.
But
he was a genius.
Yeah, he was a fantastic actor, and it seemed like like I heard about apparently he had a clause in his contract that every movie he signed on, they'd have to hire
a homeless person
from the community to like run
transit or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Well, really, he have a big pick nowadays, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he have like a hip hop album too? Hit the top of the charts.
What?
Robin Williams?
Oh no, Will Smith.
Excuse you?
No, Will Smith. Will Smith.
Oh, yeah, Will Smith.
Yeah, getting jiggy with it, man.
Yeah,
he was the fresh
summertime
dude.
Yeah.
I bumped Miami. Great song.
Yeah.
Welcome to Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, but you gotta think about it. He was a different person. Like I'm saying, he was a different person back then.
Mm-hmm.
To where he's at now, it's like I wouldn't be excited to meet him. I wouldn't fan out if I saw him. I'd probably avoid him. You know what I mean? He doesn't do anything for me.
But Robin Williams could have had a top hip hop album for sure. If he wanted to.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
He could have did a remake of Short People.
I think we should have it on the record that The Fresh Prince was fucking awesome. Like I want to go on record as saying that. I loved Will Smith back when he was a rapper in West Philly and he was just coming up. I mean, early Fresh Prince was awesome. Like I Could Beat Mike Tyson. That's a super good comedic rap song. He had so many good early music. He was such a big influence in the early hip hop scene there. Well, early, relatively speaking, like in his time of hip hop, I should say.
I have somebody asking me, how do they watch?
It's on Instagram Live at my Instagram, or it's on my Facebook as well, which is Clay Vermeulen.
Can one of you guys send me the link so I can send it to him?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Usually we have it on our YouTube, but our YouTube's broken right now because we're moving stuff around.
YouTube's blowing up right now too, man. YouTube
It
is a
is.
good place to be.
It is a good place to be. I'll send you the link in the private chat here, Greg, once I'm done blabbering about Will Smith. But I do want it to go on the record. I am a fan of the Fresh Prince big time. And I think Will Smith's a great comedic actor. I just don't think he has the chops to be a dramatic actor. He's done it in a couple films, like you guys mentioned, the ones that I think he's good in. But this movie is certainly not one of them. But Travis, I'm sure you have some good questions to guide this conversation.
Well, I hope they're good questions. But we're going to start with every question. We're always going to start with the guest here. So, Greg, it's going to go to you first and then the panel.
Okay.
My first one, I kind of want to talk about from one thing you mentioned in the debate was realism. And this is something we've talked about a lot, but I kind of thought of a new way to phrase it from listening to you and Colin. And that is like speculative fiction versus literary fiction or realistic kind of fictional stories that are actually set in a real world events. I think there's a big difference in what we expect from realism, like for realism. So when I'm watching iRobot, there's like a different kind of level to which I need to be bought into the world versus the movies you make, which are set in like the actual world, but are fictional stories. What have you found is like the difficulty in, or maybe not difficulty, when you're looking for how do I make this film more realistic and how do I catch any of those minor details that might pull people out of the story? Do you think there's a big difference between like super speculative fictional worlds and worlds like you, or the world where your stories are based of like just real time?
Yeah, I think the speculative fiction, if I'm understanding the question, the speculative fiction, are you talking about like futuristic?
Yeah, futuristic fantasy, like these outrageous kind of these scenarios that are not real. We have a different kind of, I feel like we have a different level of expectation for realism than when it's a movie like Westbrook that's just about reality.
Yeah, so I think it's much harder to because you have to have such a vast imagination, and in that vast imagination, with that you have to have a vision of what you want it to look like, right? So all those people that did the set design, the vision of the writer, and the director to make it so, I think is really difficult. Because you think about, even though we're years ahead now and we see that like it's kind of not cheesy, but for that time to think of those things and to put a story together like that with the visuals would be much more difficult. For what I do, I take life experiences from myself and from other people, especially with Westbrook. I did almost 2 years of research, going to tournaments and matches, went to Fargo, Hammerhead. I mean, I went to all these different tournaments, and I was going to high school matches too. And I was talking to the coaches, the moms, the wrestlers, the refs, the first aid, everybody, the commentators. And that's where I got a lot of my material from, is because it's true life stuff. And then I added my flavor on top of it to create a story. So I think that what I had to do, it's not easy, but it's easier than speculative fiction.
Yeah. Jeremy?
Well, I think, I was going to, I think I have to agree with that. I was going to say that sci-fi and fantasy have like the same basic requirements for realism that real world stories have, but they also do have like their own extra rules, which is what makes them sci-fi and fantasy, that need to be made clear as they pertain to the story. Now, I was going to say that was just for like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, genre fiction, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's also for just spheres where people aren't the most familiar. So like with wrestling, with with anything where the world isn't totally clear to people. And, you know, here it's mainly the robots and the 3 laws, which they just put right on the screen in front of you and say, don't think too much about it. And then it goes on to just break those rules that it says are hard and fast rules. Because I do want to be clear, Vicky is just breaking the 3 laws in this movie. And she's going down in a ball of fire, screaming about how her logic is undeniable. I have found no less than 4 logical fallacies in her argument. It's not okay.
Proud
She's
of me.
breaking
Proud
the
of you,
rules
Jeremy.
of the story and the world. Thank you.
A+ in my class.
Oh, I'm not done yet. I will list them now. If you're familiar with the Mott and Bailey fallacy, she's using that, conflating a modest stance with a more controversial one and defending said controversial stance by claiming to be advancing the modest one. You know, like she does. The ecological fallacy, where she's inferring about the nature of an entity based solely upon aggregate statistics collected for the group to which that entity belongs, humankind. You know, false attribution, claiming or appealing to an irrelevant, unqualified, unidentified, biased, or fabricated source in support of an argument. Not cool. Don't do that. And, of course, finally, the false dilemma, wherein 2 alternative statements are given as the only possible options, when in reality, there are more. And yeah, she breaks the rules of the world by being an AI that's too dumb not to.
Clay had his hand up, but I have a real quick follow-up for you. Is that not realistic, though? Because, I mean, you look at AI now, there's a lot of videos out there of like AI is programmed to do what the humans have told it to do. So like Alex O'Connor, the YouTube online philosopher, he has a video where he could just continually questions ChatGPT into like a spiral, because ChatGPT is designed to make you feel good. Like, so every answer it gives is supposed to like be a yes, an affirmative, an assenting opinion. And he puts it into these like logical kind of traps to make it like not be able to answer with the positive, and it kind of breaks its own rules. So I'm like, isn't that kind of, is Vicky might be realistic?
It's realistic to a point. The point where it stops being realistic is where the 3 laws are being like apparently somehow hard-coded into every AI consciousness inside like a positronic brain or whatever. And it takes Sonny an entire extra brain to be able to decide, I'm not going to follow these 3 laws. Like, it breaks the rules of the story, and you know, if the AI were smarter, it wouldn't have broken the world. That's all I'm saying.
Fair. Clay?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jeremy there that there's certainly some fallacies here, and to the question specifically, I don't necessarily know. Like, I like what you're saying, Greg, that there's a sort of like groundedness in making a fictional movie that doesn't rely on speculative elements. But I also think there's a part of that that's harder too, which is like, you do really have to get everything right with this like with whatever community you're representing, because that's a built-in audience, but it's also a massive amount of built-in critics if you do it wrong. And that's the reason like we haven't seen a lot of successful wrestling movies since like Vision Quest, because anything that has been tried, wrestlers are like, yeah, well, I don't know about that. And I mean, I think we're even kind of like that with Vision Quest to a certain degree. Like, we can all joke about the lateral drop being the only wrestling move in that movie, and if it's not that, it's a double armbar. But like, it's it's still like a movie that I think kind of goes for the spirit of it, which I think ultimately is what you have to try to do, right? Is capture the spirit of it and represent it in a way that's true enough to the community. Now, I think you have to do that in speculative fiction too, but those requirements, those expectations are generated from the genre itself. So I don't know. There's kind of a balance there. I think iRobot falls somewhere in that balance that makes it sort of a middling movie, in my opinion. I don't think it's a bad movie, but certainly not a great movie. And I think that's part of like what Jeremy's talking about. There's a little bit of it that it's sort of pretending to be a hard sci-fi movie, but it's definitely just not, right? Like it doesn't go deep enough. Like you said, Greg, it's got this cool looking car with these circular wheels, and it's like, are you going to explain that to me, or do you just expecting me to take that to the face? Okay, take it to the face. Got it. And it's that kind of movie, right? There's lots of instances like that. Because I think at the end of the day, this movie isn't actually really trying to do a super deep commentary on AI. I think it's trying to do it's trying to do a commercialized commentary on sentience. And ultimately, it's following the save the cat beat sheet. Like, literally to the point where he saves the fucking cat. But it follows the save the cat beat sheet to a T. Like Travis mentioned this earlier too. Like the beats in it are everything you expect from an action movie, everything you expect from a Hollywood blockbuster, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, this movie is very commercialized, a little too commercialized to be hard sci-fi or to be a deep dive on some sort of philosophical point. And ultimately, I feel like it's more of a movie about like nature versus nurture than anything. Like you've got your two AI consciousnesses that develop into a higher evolution, and you've got Vicky, who's like nature that was just created to be this AI that like follows its logical and big ol' huge quotation marks, its logical path, its programming, and then you've got Nurture, which is Sunny, who had a developer who he saw as his father, who taught him human emotions, who learns how to dream, who is like nurtured and loved for and cared for, and for some reason thinks he can feel pain, and for some reason feels like human-based emotions, which are actually created by chemicals that a robot wouldn't fucking have, like anger. So there's all these things that are like, if you try to look at it as a hard sci-fi movie, you're not going to enjoy it. Like Greg was saying, look too much at it, you won't enjoy it. But if you just go along for the ride and you understand that this is actually a movie about nature versus nurture, in my opinion, then like, I think you can enjoy it. And that's sort of where the genre can bend a little more maybe than nonfiction.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think that's a really good point. And it actually kind of perfectly goes into my next question. So we can kind of keep expanding on that if in this next question, Clay, but I want to ask more specifically when we talk about structure, and this will go to you first, Greg. I think it's something we haven't talked about enough on this show. Like we've talked a lot about character, we've talked a lot about plot, which does involve the structure and setting. But like I was thinking the other day about how important structure is and how that can really kind of cue an audience in to what kind of movie they're watching. So I left yesterday. I just went to Predator Badlands, which we're not doing on the show. So I'm going to talk about it a little here. And like, it's a lot of people are accusing it of being a Disney-fied Predator movie because it's very simple. It's like teenage Predator getting his first kill with the help of a robot from the Alien franchise. But the simplicity is kind of beautiful in it. And everything pays off. The beats are all structured out. You know what's happening next. There's not really many big surprises. And it's entertaining as hell. And it leads you from action scene to action scene in a beautiful pace. And I thought that was fantastic. And I think that's something iRobot does. And so I guess my question out of all this to you first, Greg, and then to everyone is kind of like what Clay's saying. Can the structure of a movie cue us into what we're supposed to get out of it? Can it cue us into what seems to be the intention of the story? And is that something as a creative yourself, Greg, that you do with structure? Do you pay very intentional time to like the pacing and how your beats are all fitting together to point towards that heart that you're trying to get your audience to see?
Well, let's see. How should I put this? I didn't go to film school. I didn't do any of that stuff. So a lot of my success has been stupid success, I guess you could say. I just go off what I feel and what I think will fit. And I guess I just have a knack for that. I know I've been told about beats and timing and, the arc, and, I've looked at it, but sometimes I feel that for me, that if I follow a certain structure, I can't be creative. In order for me to be creative, even if I do the whole thing and then someone goes back and look at it and say, well, maybe we need to put this here or move this around. When I'm actually writing or thinking of a story, I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about the characters and what happens to them and when it happens to them, which might be the same thing, it might not. But in my mind, I'm just thinking, because they say like in the beginning of the film, if you don't catch them in the first, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, you can lose your audience. I do feel that that's kind of true, but also too, it's subjective, right? Somebody might just see, there might not be any words and you just see beautiful scenery or something that is interesting that catches your eye and you're like, okay, I want to know more about that without even using any words. So my way of doing stuff is not your traditional way of doing stuff, which I think is good for me because it's easier for me to create. But then at the same time, I don't have to worry about what people think because I'm just a dude that's just making movies. So that's kind of how I attack it. But I do know about beats and all that stuff, but I just don't really go into it thinking about that. I go into thinking about how can I make a person feel this at this time? How can I make someone laugh at this time? How can I make someone think at this time? How can I inspire someone at this time? And I always start with the beginning and what do I want to achieve at the end so that the person that walks in the theater walks out of the theater thinking different or seeing different or feeling different. So that's kind of the way I approach it, if that answers your question.
Yeah, and can I ask a follow-up of, I really love that that's your process of like, you have characters and you have a point that you like when you go back, and two questions out of this, because I've always been curious, how often do directors and creators watch their own material after it's made? Or is it something that you're like, I don't want to see it? And second, when you do rewatch it, like, do things ever click in your mind of like, oh, I'm really glad I did it that way? Or wow, that really fell into place. Like that scene belongs exactly there. And like, is there ever those feelings of like, oh yeah, I pulled it off?
For me, I have to watch it because, so for instance, after we had the audience review both of them, and I sat back and took all that feedback in, some of the things that I thought originally should have been in certain places, I took out of those places. And after review, I need to put them back in those places. So it's just weird how I'm very in tune with society and people and emotions, and I'm just really good at that. That's why I like speaking and everything. But I have looked at stuff. I did one where it's called Trust Tomorrow, and I don't even want to watch it ever again in my life. You know what I mean? The sound was bad, the color was bad. The story was good and the acting was good, but if you don't have all four of those things together, then it's garbage, right? It's trash. And it took me so long and so much money to try to get it right to where I just had to cut my losses on it. And I wish I would have did a lot better, but then, that's how I learned how to do better, especially with Westbrook.
Nice. Colin.
Yeah, there's like structure is hugely important, but it depends what you're doing. And different genres have different structure requirements and different production companies. So like Dan Harmon has his system. And so like if you're going to write on Rick and Morty, you have to have that system, which like sets things up in the first 5 minutes. and then has a conflict and that has to be resolved within the next like 40 minutes, and then the solution is the last 5 minutes, and there's like a character arc and turnaround where something goes wrong and they have to get the help of someone else or fix the problem through a different way. And that's just like kind of a classic, I mean, you could call it like a speculative fiction one, but they used the same system. He came up with that, I think, during Community, and the Community has that, and Rick and Morty has that, and you just see it. But then there's really good examples of where like you won't understand the film if you don't get the structure. So like Primer is the go-to like structural sci-fi, hard sci-fi time travel movie, and you're not going to get it if you don't make sense of that. Or another, to some extent, Inception as well, where like you really got to watch it twice, and it's kind of made that way. And I know that people like Jackson for Lord of the Rings, I mean, they like he did so much work in, I think they filmed all 3 films very quickly in succession, and then he like took a whole year to edit each one essentially. So there's like definitely half, from what I've heard, like half the production of the entire film happens before the editing process, and then the other half is like in the editing room, which is kind of its own science. And I do have this wild theory about iRobot, where recently Alan Tudyk said that there were test audiences for iRobot when it came out, and they restructured and recut the film because everybody identified with Sonny and not with Will Smith. And he said it was a huge controversy, and Will Smith was furious about it. And we only have like Alan Tudyk said this recently, which was like 20 years ago when this happened, so who knows right? But I feel like it just becomes truer. Like the more time goes on, the more true that just seems. That Will Smith was pissed at Alan Tudyk for being too good, especially when he was probably paid a tiny fraction of what Will Smith was paid for this movie. And I wonder, like, I feel like that leaks into the film, like the fact that he sneaks into Gigi's place and then like acts like a kid and crawls to not be seen by her, and then she picks him out, and then eating the middle of the pie, putting a stupid anime ridiculous amount of sugar in his coffee, catching the ball that he intentionally doesn't catch, thrown by Shia LaBeouf. I feel like those are all things that were like added in to make his character seem funny and more interesting, and not so much one note. Because like Greg said earlier, like he's just sort of mad all the time. He hates robots, and he groans a lot. And like that's kind of his character. And then Sonny comes around and shows like real dimension to characterization and like yearnings and conflicts internally.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
The robot was better. Sorry.
Yeah.
The robot was better.
Yeah.
Clay.
Dude, it's about the line delivery. Like, I feel like Will Smith is saying a line, and I feel like Alan Tudyk is saying what that character would say. Like, that's the difference. And I don't know, it's one of those sort of intangible things in terms of explaining how a good actor does it, but you know it when you see it or hear it. In the case of Alan Tudyk, being a robot and still delivering a more believable performance than Will Smith in this movie. Didn't know this was going to be a Will Smith hit piece. Go ahead, Greg.
and again, if we could just use our imaginations for a second, and we're dealing with the 30-year-old Denzel Washington, there's no way that robot's going to beat him and outperform him. You know what I'm saying? Because Denzel's going to bring it. He's just going to, that's what he does. He sucks the air out of the room, right? Again, Will Smith, he's not a bad actor, but
yeah, I know to you,
Yes.
Jeremy, soon, but a comparison I've made a lot, and I think this is like the exact same thing, is in There Will Be Blood, there's this really good quote that I love of like the two best performances of that year were both in the same movie, but no one thinks about Paul Dano because Daniel Day-Lewis was so good. Like that's Denzel. Like no matter what movie he's in, like Ethan Hawke in Training Day did so good, but you don't think of Ethan Hawke when you think of Training Day. Like you think of Denzel.
Yeah.
But, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think kind of going off of that, I think the presence of Will Smith does change the structure of the film, because structure's like really weird for anybody that's created stories. It's something that just kind of naturally forms around your story beats, and you can tell when it doesn't because it feels weird and out of place. But it sort of informs how you're supposed to interact with the story, how serious you're supposed to take it or not take it, how difficult or heady things should be. Like if story is a vehicle for your message, structure tells your audience if that vehicle is a nuclear submarine or a velocipede, something just goofy and weird. And I think the mixture of Alan Tudyk and his off the charts performance, even behind layers of CGI, is something that like makes it a little weird to have Will Smith be Will Smith about that whole thing. Even though I will stand by that, I find his more dramatic moments in this and other movies to be like more compelling than he gets credit for, even if he is kind of like a shitty guy.
Well, there's Pursuit of Happiness, and then there's Suicide Squad.
Yeah, both
in terms of Will
those
Smith
are both movies.
Was Suicide
Very
Squad
good.
his
He
fault,
is.
though? Was
Shockingly
Suicide
different.
Squad his fault? I don't know. if
I can't
Suicide
imagine
Squad
it
was his
is.
fault.
Why was
That
he
was a
even there?
bad script.
Why was he?
Why
even-
was anyone even there? Like
That's
Margot
what
Robbie.
I think of.
was
Why did
about-
anyone show up for that?
Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was about the only one that I was like, okay, this character fits in this world. Everyone else, I was like, I don't know what's going on.
The only actor who
What about-
kept going with that franchise.
Yeah.
Hey now, Jai Courtney showed up as Captain Boomerang a second time.
For 10 minutes before he blew up.
So
I love what you said, Jeremy, and I'd love to get everyone's kind of, it's not really a question, but any other takes on this, because I love what you said about the structure forms around the plot points that you build. It kind of, I'm thinking of the metaphor of a construction site, of like when you show up early construction period, it just looks like dirt and a mess, and like there's machinery everywhere, and the pipe, like there's stuff orange paint marking where things are going to go, and you're like, this cannot possibly become something. But then like a month later, it's formed into this like beautiful thing, hopefully. That like happened at our school recently, where our headmaster put in like a new sidewalk and a swing set, and it was like 2 weeks before opening, and I was still like, what? We can't have children here. And then like day school opened, it was like, wow, campus looks amazing. So I think there is something to that with story. If anyone has any thoughts, Greg first, if you have any thoughts on kind of further expanding the structure discussion of like, I think you like start with that ground level, and then you build on. But anyone?
Yeah. So originally, because I have another script that I wrote, and I know for a fact that it's $2-3 million. I know that. So when I was thinking of another movie to make, because I used to wrestle, so I thought about wrestling. I looked up wrestling. There's only been 13, 14 fictional wrestling movies ever made. I watched almost every one of them. And I said, this might be a good niche to get into. And then I started looking up wrestling, how much is growing and everything. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I met one person. I didn't even have a story idea or anything. I met one person who was a wrestling coach and started talking with him. And then I started talking with other people. As I was going along, I was looking for characters. I didn't have nothing written. I was looking for characters to put in this. So I met this guy named Kevin Roberts, and he was at a wrestling tournament. And I just liked the way he talked, and he just looked like he could be on TV. I started talking to him. He said, yes, I would love to do that. So then I created his character, which is Joe. I created that character off of his personality. And then he tells me, he goes, you know what? You should meet my best friend. I said, well, who's your best friend? He said, Chael Sonnen. I go, who's that? And he's like, you don't know Uncle Chael? I'm like, nope. So he introduced me to him. I come to find out Chael Sonnen's MMA and ESPN commentator. I'm like, okay, I could fit this in the story somewhere. You know what I mean? And then I just kept meeting all these people. Josie Bissett, who plays the principal, just happened to. The really interesting story. She had her phone number on IMDb, and the producer at the time that was working for me called her and pitched her, and then she called me and fell in love with the story and the script. So that's how I got her, and it just kept going like that. So I kept building the story around the characters that I had. I didn't have any of it like an idea of what I was going to do or how I was going to do it. I just know that I needed some named actors and I needed some people that knew about wrestling. So, 2 years into it, I knew a lot of people in wrestling. I was with the WIAA, or I think, WIIA, whatever it's called, USA Wrestling, NCAA, because I had to make sure I didn't break any rules and policies. This is before they had the NI, what is it, NI, where you can make money in college. So I had to make sure I didn't mess that up. And so as I got enthralled in it and started hearing the stories of these wrestlers, then I started formulating the story. So it's interesting how I didn't have a story first and then I looked for actors. And in fact, all of these wrestlers that are in this movie are real wrestlers. So I had to send the main ones to acting school because it's easier to teach a wrestler how to act than an actor how to wrestle.
Yeah.
You can see that in Vision Quest. And just for the record, Vision Quest is not a wrestling movie. It's a love story.
Yeah, 100%. Also, can we not let the name drop you just subtly slipped in there go away? You interviewed Chael Sonnen.
He's in my
movie. He's in your movie? Chael Sonnen's in Westbrook. Okay.
Yeah. So him and Shane Sparks. Shane Sparks is the Big Ten commentator. Him and Shane Sparks are live commentating the wrestling matches because all the wrestling matches are real except for the end outcome. Because I didn't want fake wrestling in there.
Wow. I'm excited to watch this even more. And anyone in the fighting sports world that's a big fan,
it's a really cool scene. He pulls up in a Hellcat, gets out, does the chill thing. Oh, he is a hilarious person. He's a very nice person. And he helped the production so much because he didn't demand a bunch of money.
That's awesome.
That was a big deal because he's a big deal. And I didn't even know that. I was like, Chael who? Chael Sonnen. How do you spell that? Yeah, when I met him, geez, that guy's huge. His hand could probably cover my face.
Yeah, he had a video the other day, not to just go on Chael Sonnen for a bit, but you'll appreciate hopefully. He went to Iowa and he bet anyone below 150. No, I think it was 165. Anyone that could gut wrench him. And for I think they had a minute to do it. And he held his own against Iowa Hawkeyes. None of them could do it. And
he's a big dude, man.
He was smart enough to say heavyweights, you don't get a chance because that ain't happening. But it was really cool.
Yeah. All those guys, man. Adeline Gray, do you know who that is?
Yeah, I've heard the name.
She's in the movie too.
That's amazing.
Nice. She's an Olympic champion. She is the most decorated male or female wrestler in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's really nice. I just actually was texting with her the other day.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I got lucky, man. I'm telling you, all the structure and all this fancy stuff you guys are talking about, I accidentally did something right. I mean, it wasn't fun.
Your building looks... Oh, go ahead, Clay.
I want to speak to that too. Greg, I know you're being humble right now. I know you've put together a few movies, so you know what you're doing. And I think once you've done it a few times, you don't have to follow the rules. Once you know the rules, you can break the rules, and that's what professionals do. So all these structures that we've brought up, that's just what works for certain people. That's what works to bring a team together, I think, more than anything. Like Colin, when you're talking about the Rick and Morty thing. Ultimately, I think it comes down to more writing principles and what works for you. Like you said, Greg, you're working from a place of character centric, and with a story that you want to tell about a thing you want to talk about, right? And as long as you stay true to all those fundamentals, then the way the story comes together, eventually, as long as it's a story and it has a point and a message, it's gonna work, right? We don't have to follow structure to tell a good story. That's just a way to teach people how to write a story, I think, more than anything. And once you've written a few, you learn what works for you, and you do it that way. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, those are two of my writing heroes. But they just say when you're writing your beat sheet, just keep using the words but and therefore. Have you guys heard this? So it's like instead of, yes and or whatever, like you're taught in improv theater, they say but and therefore. So like this happens, but then this happens. So therefore this happens, but this happens, therefore this happens.
Interesting.
Right? And build your beat sheet that way is what they recommend. And when you watch South Park, you can see that's pretty much how it always happens. Like they don't subscribe necessarily. Dan Harmon's a great writer, but they don't subscribe to that. Like this has to happen at this point in the show or whatever. I also don't, because like you, Greg, I'm kind of a pantser. I just kind of write my stories from my mind, and it doesn't really like they don't have much of a shape at first, like a construction site,
Right.
and that shape comes after. That shape comes when you have the story on the page, and then you can always go back and fix it once you incorporate feedback and all those things.
Yeah, I do think I love to hear that a lot of. I mean, I knew this going in. Like a lot of it is intuitive, and like back to the construction metaphor, you see that with anyone that really does kind of the trades or builds anything. Once they've become an expert of it, I mean, like Clayton and I's uncle moves houses as a structural house mover, and he doesn't have to like measure anything anymore. He's just like put a beam there, and you're like, what? How do you know that? It's like because I've done like 700 of these, so I know where the beam goes. Which I think is a lot of storytelling. When people become experts, they find their own voice, and we talked about that with like Paul Thomas Anderson. His first few movies, he's like clearly copying Scorsese a little bit, like and trying to find his own. And now I just watched his newest One Battle After Another. Like that's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Like no one else could. It looks like him. It feels like him. It feels like not an imitation. He's made his own structure intuitively out of years of practice and perfection of the art. So
I will say though, my producer Chris Flink, if I didn't have her working with me, I probably would navigate this a different way. She is the one with the experience, like the beats and all that stuff, and ultimately the decision is mine. But she always plays devil advocate, and I think that helps a lot, and is a big reason why I think this movie is going to be a success, because there is structure from her perspective to me on what I'm doing. So it's kind of like adding a little bit of extra stuff that I probably wouldn't know or wouldn't see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I love film for that reason, because it's the ultimate example of art being a team effort. Because like you said, Greg, you've got that movie you made a while ago that you're like, I'm never watching that shit again. But like, I'm sure there was aspects of that movie that you were like, yes, I did my part here, right? But like, you have to if you don't have it all, if you have bad sound and everything else in the movie's gold, it doesn't matter. That movie sucks. And like, so art has to, movies specifically have to come together on so many levels. But even writing books, like I'm more into, like I've got editors, I've got beta readers, I have all kinds of people that help me get that thing to the finish line. It's certainly not all me. There's always a team behind it.
No, for sure. You got to have it.
Takes a village. I kind of already asked my pretentious question of the day, so I'm sorry. I don't have. That was my structured question, and
you can't get more pretentious than that. Come on, man.
I mean, I could force it, but I don't want to force it, because I feel like Greg said, we got to just be honest and ourselves and find the heart of the conversation. And I'm not going to force pretension where pretension does not belong. So that's what I got for everybody today. I think it's high time we rate this thing. Greg already gave it a 3.5 out of 5, which I think on a scale of 5 is a great rating. I'd say
right
that
where
3, right where it belongs.
Totally
but we have a
possible.
different rating system here at Fermented Fiction that is completely arbitrary and
much less helpful.
And
yes.
It is how many drinks or substances of your choice would you have to consume to fully enjoy this picture to its highest extent, which can be water.
Sure.
Whatever you want to pick, but doesn't make any sense, but that's how we do it here at Fermented Fiction. Colin, what do you rate iRobot?
I think you should have a like distilled brown beverage every time they do in the film.
So
I'm gonna say that's
once?
3, but it might be more.
Might be.
I definitely remember 3 times.
Yeah.
There's the CEO in the office when he first meets him, and then
They have
there's in her
coffee.
house.
That's whiskey.
And then I can't remember if he drinks in Lansing's home when he visits before it gets demolished.
I mean, probably he just shows up and makes
I
himself
think
at
it's
home
3.
anywhere. Okay, Clay.
3 though.
Okay. I think you should take a shot each time that Shia LaBeouf is just on screen for no reason, which is 3 or 4 times every time he's on screen. And then take a shot every time Will Smith delivers a line that's clearly supposed to be funny, but you don't even feel like you want to laugh.
A lot of Will Smith.
That's it.
Will Smith.
That's what
Shots
I
at
say.
Will Smith today on this episode.
Sorry about it,
Jeremy?
Will Smith. I don't actually. I'm not.
I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Team Chris
Jeremy?
Rock.
Well, hey, we need. We're gonna start off hard. You need 3 right away for the 3 laws that are going to be explained to you, and so it'll help you not worry about them. Okay, don't even worry about those. Okay, but it just helps. Okay, you'll want. Let's see. You'll definitely want one for the Hansel and Gretel book that it takes Spoon way too long to realize is a clue to follow clues. It's just the hint is, hey, follow the clues, which he was already doing.
Listen, we already are losing our collective memory of fairy tales, so maybe in 2035, like, people just don't give a shit about Hansel and Gretel anymore.
Right, but he was already following clues. But Dr. Lanning, he was like, I'm going to leave this here so that the detective knows to follow the clues.
There you go. They should have used Dora. That's what the
Dora
book is.
Yeah,
Dora.
exactly. Yeah, you make it to the Dora the Explorer. Also, you'll need one more at least when you find out about Will Smith's backstory, and you wonder to yourself, like, wait a minute, wouldn't it actually make more sense to save the person who's less likely to survive without intervention? Maybe you do that. Maybe that's not. I don't know. Maybe this is why I'm not a robot, unless I am. But, I see, like, okay, this person has an 11% chance of survival, but this person has a 45% chance of survival. Maybe the 45% can wait a minute while I get the 11, and then, 2 trips.
But what did they gauge that off of? The girl was way younger.
I have no idea.
They didn't explain that, like, what was 11%? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like, I was wondering, like, she can't hold her breath that long. Well, she's younger. I would assume that she could hold her breath longer than Will.
Well, maybe she's got littler lungs, Can't hold.
I think
hold
they
much
were
breath in those.
They were like, Will Smith has more star power, so we have to let him out.
Maybe that was in his contract that he had to be saved. He can't die.
It was in his contract that he had to be. If he had been killed in a flashback, that would have been.
Man.
Listen, the only person.
Then we couldn't look at anybody's butt in this.
The only actor who is allowed to put in their contracts that they can't be killed is Sean Bean, because he's done his time.
So I want to ask you. This has nothing to do with this. I want to ask you guys this question because you guys are so in depth into film. Have you ever heard of the theory that the black person always dies first?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's another reason why you couldn't die.
Just doing a temperature check.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess he.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're good. Thank you.
Yeah, poor
Jeremy.
Bumblebee. I like
Bumblebee. Yeah. How many drinks does that bring you to, Jeremy?
I don't know. You'll want to throw some in for Vicky, saying, like, my logic is undeniable, so that you don't realize, yes, it is. It's very deniable. It's exactly deniable. So I don't know, 9.
9. Okay.
Pretty modest, but not great for a feature film.
Because it's 1 p.m. here, so pretty early. I'm actually going to go with the sober rating this time, and I'm going to say you get yourself a 16-ounce coffee. Mine is, because I'm a psychopath, a double shot of espresso inside black coffee. It's called a shot in the dark. It's fantastic.
Oh my god, yeah.
So get yourself a
love a shot in
16-ounce
the dark.
16-ounce shot in the dark, and here's what you're going to do. Every time Will Smith says something negative about robots, tries to kill a robot, or tries to arrest a robot, you're going to put a big spoonful of sugar into your shot in the dark. And by the end of it, you're going to be drinking basically just sugar. And that'll be great.
So does that count if he's successful at killing the robot, or if he's just making the attempt?
Anytime he attempts to kill, arrest, or speaks negatively of a robot.
So if he successfully kills a robot, that's sugar or no?
That's also sugar. So
okay.
There's going to be a lot of sugar in this shot in the dark, and you're going to be... I want you at the end of this movie to be as high-strung as his character.
That's going to be syrup.
Yeah.
That's my rating.
Travis, I had a professor who used to get those. He called them red eyes.
Yeah, there you have a lot
and
of
then he
them.
had a heart attack, and so he stopped ordering red eye.
Okay, well, don't tell me that. Our
Good to
family
know.
has history. Gregory.
So every time he goes, "Ah! Ah! Ah!" He must have done it at least 10, 15 times.
Yeah, you got to get a lot of takes.
Just in
of
the
that.
tunnel alone, every time he gets done, "Ah! Bam!" Ah! I just like making that noise. It's fun. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
So, man, however many that is, probably a lot.
Probably
I'm not going to
10
rewatch it and count it. So,
Somewhere between 200 and too many.
that's really a lot.
So we've got like 9 to 15 drinks or spoonfuls of sugar into your coffee. That's our rating, people.
Somebody's going to have a good day.
Yeah,
Clay?
and turn those into drinks if you want to play this movie on hard mode. I love the every time he hates a robot or shoots a robot, turn it into drinks. Watch this movie on hard mode. By the way, I just want to leave the audience with this question. Something to ask yourselves in this age of AI. Do you need a personal trauma to hate robots? I don't think you do. But we see this all the time.
I forgot to say it, and I have to say it. There's a line that the CEO guy says, would you have gotten rid of the internet to keep libraries alive? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like immediately, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. But thanks to the internet, we are able to connect with awesome guests like Greg Marks here on the show and to bring the show to you, the viewers. So, good job, internet. This is what you've created. I hope you're proud of yourself. Greg, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It's been a great time chatting with you. Can you tell the audience one more time before we let you go, where can they find you? Where can they watch your shit? What's going on with Westbrook, and who the hell are you?
Okay. So if you want to watch the trailer, it's on YouTube. You just look up Westbrook, A Wrestler Story. I'm also on Instagram at Actor Marks. I'm also on Facebook as Gregory D. Marks. I also have Westbrook USA on Instagram. I also have a website. It's called rightnowtoday.org. You can go there. You can order swag. I got all kinds of swag. You guys should get some swag, man. I got some swag for you. And I'm just a guy, man. Construction references, appreciate it. I've been doing asphalt striping, seal coating, all that stuff, equipment operating ever since high school. I'm trying to get out of it. That's why I want to make movies that are successful to where I can monetize from them. You can also contribute on Venmo because we're still in the process of finishing things up with the movie. I'm out of Tacoma. All my films have been shot in Tacoma. I love Tacoma. And I really appreciate whoever's listening or watching. I appreciate you guys for having me on. It was more than I expected. It was a lot more fun than I expected. I'm sure we're all busy, and I'm glad that I took the time out to do this. It really meant a lot to me, and also opened up my eyes. You guys are some pretty sharp dudes, man. I wouldn't mind working with you guys at some other point in time on my next projects, because if this goes the way I want it to go, there will be a Westbrook 2, which will be called Westbrook Origins, which I already wrote a pilot for. And we're also trying to work on a wrestling television series, because that has never been done.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Would love that. Would love to be involved.
We need a lot of help.
Hell yeah, brother. If we can help you out in the future, we certainly will. It's been a true pleasure hosting you on Fermented Fiction today. Jeremy, Colin, Travis, thanks for being here as always. And yeah, thank you, listeners. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We're going to get the hell out of here because we have kept a busy man in Greg Marks way too long. He's got good film to go make and wrestling to bring to the world. So we're going to let you do that. Thanks again, Greg. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week, where we have NJ Kuhn coming on to debate Frankenstein. And we also next week have Thomas Olda Hoyvelt coming back on the show to debate The Good Place. That's next Saturday. MJ Kuhn will be on Tuesday. So we'll be doing the same thing, streaming to Facebook, Instagram, hopefully back on YouTube. We'll see, and we'll see you there.